You're watching Experience Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Triple B's already in the house. I was just looking at my mail, and it seems that they have made a sideshow figure that is the original Iron Man. Well, not the original, but it's the 1960s Iron Man. And he looks like he's straight out of the comics. I got to tell you, this character, this figure is absolutely amazing looking. The only problem I have with it, and I don't know, let me see if they've got one. Oh, it's close. My complaint was it didn't have a nose, and there was a short time in the 60s that Iron Man had a nose, and then they got rid of it. But they give you like 4 different masks, which is pretty cool because they used to get some pretty good facial expressions out of the mask when George Tuska was doing the comics, stuff like that. But they are including the mask that has the points, which that's a big selling point there. So yeah, classic Iron Man figure available at Sideshow. So that's pretty cool. Hey Jeff, hey Slip, how you doing? We're going to have a little bit of a weird show today because, well, I originally had something else planned. It fell through. So we're going to talk about what the reveal that Mantis is the son or the daughter of Ego and the sister of Peter Quill might mean in the comics. Yes, it's a wild speculation day, which means JD will be able to use his favorite graphic. Yes, it's a wild ass speculation day, and we'll start it up right after the opening. Be right back. Hey everybody, welcome to the Dan Wickline Show here on The Experience. Today is January 4th. Really is this time. Yesterday I thought it was because my watch lied to me, but we've had a discussion. It's all worked out now. The watch is back on the right page. So it's January 4th. It is New Comic Day. It's Wednesday. A lot of interesting things are going on. We still have the big announcement to come. It's a big announcement that's going to involve all of our shows, and it's going to be something that you guys are definitely going to want to be part of. So hit that subscribe button if you're on YouTube, and if you're not on YouTube, make a trip over to YouTube and hit the subscribe button because you'll want to be part of this. All right, we got a great lineup today. After this will be Comics Collectibles, and they've got some pretty cool books, including a 4-page connecting image of Princess Leia done by Jeffrey Gwynn and Mariano Nicieza. So that's pretty cool looking. They've got some James Tynion signed Batmans, and there's even a Joseph Michael Lisner cover one. So those are pretty cool. So did you buy the watch from Stranger Than Fiction? No. Yes, I have time traveled a bit, but not far enough to actually do any good. Actually, I have a character I created, and he goes by the name Laps. And he has what is considered one of the most ridiculous powers when you first think about it. He has the ability to open a portal to 12 hours in the future. Now, it's a one-way portal. So once something goes through, it can't come back. So if he steps through, he's just 12 hours in the future. And if he sends something through, then it's 12 hours in the future. Again, not a lot you could do with that unless you're really clever. And this guy turns into an assassin. And he'll do stuff like 12 hours before a political figure is about to do a speech, he'll fire a gun at the podium and send it through a portal, the bullet through a portal, and then it'll just appear 12 hours later and he'll be long gone. Or someone's flying in an airplane and you open a portal in front of him, plane goes through, he disappears. Next thing you know, he's just suddenly 12 hours in the future in the middle of free-falling space. So it's a fun character. I've played with a little bit. I definitely want to get back to him, do stuff with him. So yeah, so weaponized skip scene button. There you go. Slip says, this just reminded me of something. Have you ever bought anything you saw in a movie due to product placement? Once. I did it once. I was very young. I ended up buying the Ray-Bans that they used in Men in Black. Bought a pair of those, and I had them probably 15 years until they literally fell. I had them hanging here when I was going to the Phoenix Comic-Con, and they fell off my shirt, and they hit the ground just on the side and broke. But otherwise, I'd probably still have them. They were great sunglasses. They lasted me for long. I mean, even though they were expensive, I had them for frickin' ever. So, Jay says, perfect power for an assassin when you put it like that. It's not ridiculous at all. Exactly. That's why I love the character. And I've written some stories with him, but I got to do more. Yeah, the Ray-Bans were kind of a cool look. Slip says, when Iron Man 1 came out, Tony Stark eats a Burger King cheeseburger. I immediately went to buy one afterwards. Nice. Yeah. I'm not a big cheeseburger fan. I'm not a big cheese fan overall. So I would have just gotten a regular hamburger or a Whopper. But yeah. Slip says, I really wanted to buy those Men in Black Ray-Bans. Yeah, they were cool. I've been to Randy's Donuts not because of Iron Man 2, but I was going to play D&D at Top Cow, the Top Cow offices, and I got off the freeway. I was changing freeways, ended up getting at the wrong off-ramp, ended up going the wrong direction on the next freeway, got off on the first street to turn around, and came around, and there was Randy's Donuts. And I'm like, well, you can't pass this up. So I pulled in and got a donut. So it was more of an accidental thing than planning to go to Randy's Donuts. And they wouldn't let me sit in the sign up in the donut. I asked, but they said no. So, by the way, I don't know if a lot of people know this. Randy's Donuts is a walk-up only. There are no seats in it. So even though Iron Man is sitting in the donut, when they go inside, that's a completely different place. That is not Randy's Donuts when they actually go inside. So, all right, we're kind of all over the place, which is fun. I love doing that. But we got some news to cover, so we will talk about that first. And then we'll get into our topic of the day. Slip, I did some stuff for Top Cow. I've done some writing for them. I did a book there called The Freeze, which I published with Phil Sevey. I also worked on their Artifacts books, and I did one of their Aphrodite 9. They did spin-off. I did Artemis 9? No. Yeah, Artemis 9. So yeah, I've done a few things for Top Cow, but I was actually going there. We were playing Dungeons and Dragons together. Matt Hawkins was the DM, and we played in the conference room, and it was myself and Dan Peterson, who is one of the guys over at Skybound. It was Matt's wife, and a couple other people. Ryan Cady ended up joining us, and originally Brian Edward Hill was one of the players, but he ended up leaving early on. But it was a fun little group, and we played for probably about a year or so. And it's how I learned to play Dungeons and Dragons. I hadn't actually played prior to that. So, but yeah, Top Cow is a great group over there. Matt's a good guy and a good friend, and I'm hoping to do some more stuff. Witchblade and the Darkness are both really good series. I've always been a fan of Magdalena, but also their character of Tom Judge, and that's who I got to write in the Artifact series. I was supposed to do a Tom Judge miniseries, wrote the first 2 scripts, and had the artist drew the first one. The second one, the artist disappeared on us, and it just kind of fell to the wayside. So would love to get back to that. The Darkness is a great character, but I really like Tom Judge. I think he's a fun character, and an ex-priest who's now part demon is pretty cool. So, all right, let's talk about Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. We've found out today that it's going to be debuting on Disney Plus on February 1st, which is a bit of a surprise because Marvel has been doing like 45-day windows. And this is going to be an 82-day window. Oh, good call, JD. Hadn't even thought about that. I'm really putting out for holding it for Black History Month. That's smart. That's a good thought. Yeah, they might be doing that. But yeah, I mean, the film's done really well. It's a 821 million worldwide gross. But so they're holding on to it. I think they'll probably leave it in the theaters because there's not a lot of big movies right now. It's still third at the box office. So JD Smith says he enjoyed Black Panther 2. I sadly have not had a chance to see it yet. Jim Beard gives me crap about it every week on Pop Goes the Writers because he wants to talk about it, and I said go ahead and talk about it. But I do know all the spoilers and stuff like that. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and watch it. So hopefully I'll be able to get over there during this month. If not, I'll see it on the 1st when it hits Disney Plus. So, but I've heard great things about it. Most people I know like it. So, all right. Second bit of news has to do with The Flash. Now, yesterday I said that a few members are coming back, including David Ramsey, who played Diggle on Arrow, and the original Kid Flash, Keanan Lonsdale, is going to come back. But today we find out that Stephen Amell, Oliver Queen himself, will be returning as Oliver Queen in the final season of The Flash. Now, the former Arrow star is supposed to appear in the 9th episode of the 9th season. I don't know how many episodes the new season is going to be. I think it's going to be a shortened one. I just don't know how many episodes. But he's going to be returning. Hey, John, good to see you. He's going to be returning for the first time since, I think he left in early 2020 during the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover. So I think he had like one episode of Arrow after that where he said goodbye to everybody. But, and the world's pretty much gone to hell since he left Arrow. So hopefully this will get everything back to normal. But yeah, he's supposed to be coming back. It's going to be interesting because the character dies twice during Crisis. He dies and comes back as a Spectre, and he dies again. So this might just be flashbacks or some kind of multiverse thing, or I don't know, but it's going to be interesting as the Flash started on Arrow. So it's just kind of like bringing things around full circle. JD says he pulled a David Caruso. Yeah. You're talking about leaving NYPD Blue? So, all right. Then third bit of news kind of leads us into our topic for the day. And this has to do with Dave Bautista. Now, I know that with the next episode of Guardians of the Galaxy coming up, we're probably going to lose a lot of the characters from Guardians. I don't know if Amell actually left for a film career, because I don't think he really tried for a film career. Hey, cool. I think he wanted. I think he was in talks to do Heels. I think he wanted to do a show about wrestling because he's a big wrestling fan and stuff. So he did the movie himself. He and Robbie Amell did. What was it? Code 9, Code 8, something like that. And then he did the Turtles movie, but I don't think playing Casey Jones would be anybody's big break. Hey, Ed, good to see you. So, yeah, we're going to lose a lot of the Guardians after this next movie. I wouldn't be surprised if we lose most of them. You know, what's going to happen with the Guardians going in the future? There's always a chance that they could, break up the original team, create a whole new lineup involving like Adam Warlock, who's just coming into the franchise. Some of the characters may stick around. Mantis may stick around. Palm Clementif only started with the second movie, so she might stick around. But overall, I think we're going to lose a lot of the Guardians. And Bautista has been pretty clear that it's his time. Now, he's been telling people that he's glad to be done with Drax. And he was talking in an interview with GQ, and he said that he's so grateful for and loves Drax the Destroyer. That's got thrown off there. At the same time, though, there's this sense of relief for him as a former WWE star. He kind of glad it's coming to an end. He says he's been, it wasn't always pleasant. He says it was a hard playing the role. The makeup process was beating me down. I just don't know if I want Drax to be my legacy. It's a silly performance, and I want to do more dramatic stuff. He's been doing mostly comedy, and he does it very well. He did show up in one of the Bond movies. He is in Glass Onion, which would be the second time he's worked with Daniel Craig, which is interesting. But he's really good at the comedic timing, and I thought Drax was a great character for him. Slipknot says the only Turtles movie I acknowledge is the 1991. I'm good with that. But so now I know Bautista also wants to stop doing roles that are based on his physicality. So because, if you'll notice in the holiday special and probably in the upcoming thing, he's wearing a shirt, which was one of his big complaints, is that he didn't want to run around shirtless all the time. He's getting older, and staying in that level of shape is difficult. Plus, if you're shirtless, there's all that extra time in the makeup chair because he's, green color. He's got all that tattoo stuff done. So he's got his own tattoos that have to be covered. And then you've got the other tattoos put on and the green skin job, and he has to keep in certain shape. So I could see him being, okay, I'm done with Drax. Let's move on. But I don't think that it's a bad legacy for him, because it's been a fun character, and it's been a character that's big family. This whole thing is about, as Dom Toretto says, family. It's all about family. So I think the Guardians is a family, and all of the components, whether it's Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Bradley Cooper, and Vin Diesel, it's the ensemble that makes that work. So I don't think it's a bad legacy for Bautista, but I could see him also wanting to move on and do other things. But I have, other than the James Bond villain, which not Jinx, what was the character's name? He barely spoke in the entire movie, so I don't remember if he spoke at all. JD says he needs an action role as a grizzled army sergeant. I think he'd fit in well in a war movie. Slip says Bautista was brilliant in Heist. I haven't seen Heist, but yeah. Stuber. Kamal Najani did carry that movie, but I didn't think he was bad in Stuber. I think he played exactly what the character was, But that's the thing, is that's the range he's been getting, and maybe that's what he wants. He wants to get offered better roles. If Drax is what everybody knows you for, then maybe that's is he that different of a character than he played in Stuber? Or even in Glass Onion, he was kind of a caricature more than a character. And maybe that's what he's trying to get away from. He doesn't want to play these over-the-top, silly characters. He wants to play somebody more serious, He needs to hook up with Chris Nolan and be in like the next Oppenheimer type film. Bautista as a nuclear scientist. Sure, why not? I mean, we don't know he can't do it. So let him try, right? I don't see why not. All right, that's the news. Let's hit our first break, and we'll come back and talk about the Mantis reveal in Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. We'll be right back.
Did you know that across America there are over 2, maybe even 3 live stream producers who can't even afford Mountain Dew? Take Brian here. Brian has gone 2 weeks without a sip of Red Bull. If it goes on much longer, he may take a shower and get a real job. Situations like this are as tragic as they are preventable. Join the experience on YouTube and gain access to special emojis and members-only streams. For less than a cup of coffee, you can keep socially awkward hermit people working from their parents' basements where they belong. Scan the QR code on the screen to join. You'll be glad you did.
Hello, my name is Julio Anta. I am the writer of Home from Image Comics. You can pick it up anywhere books are sold. It's a 5-issue series, and you're watching me on The Experience.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Dan Wickline Show here on The Experience. We've got a great lineup for today. Following this will be Comics Collectibles with Rex and John, and they have both AR Comics and the other guy who are going to be on the show because of missing Monday. So all after that will be Rock and Robbie. Yes, Rock and Robbie. Then after that will be a Pop Go the Writers. We did it on Sunday, but the rebroadcast that we do here, and it's Jim Beard and I talking about our best and worst of 2022 when it comes, or our best of movies and television. We also talk about the latest episode of Willow and what's happening with Jeremy Renner, though we didn't have as much update as we do now. And then after that will be Henri, kicking it with Henri tonight. So lots of stuff going on. Also, remember to hit that subscribe button down there. If you're on YouTube, you definitely want to do that. We got some big announcement coming up that's going to involve every show on the network, and you're going to want to be a part. You want to be subscribed for that. JD, that's my same question too. Is why, one, on Willow, why is it so dark? 2, why is it so silly? And 3, can we just get to Val Kilmer already? I know we're not going to this season, but come on. Slipknot says Renner got lucky. Yeah, he did. Let me give you the latest update on that. I'm glad he's okay too. The mayor of Reno came out, Hillary Sheev, and said that Renner was actually trying to help someone stranded in the snow. So someone got blocked in the snow. He got his snowcat out. They have another name for it too, like a bully or something, but it's a snowcat. And he was helping them out and got, it started rolling. He tried to stop it and got crushed by it. So this wasn't any malfeasance. There was no ill intent. This is just an absolute accident. He's posted on Instagram since a picture of himself in the hospital bed, and he just has the little oxygen thing in. It's not a full face mask. He's not intubated, and he's wearing his glasses. Those are all good signs. So he's awake. He's cognitive, and I think he did. I think he got really lucky, and I'm glad that to know that. The mayor goes on to say that he's always helping people. There's few times he'll post about what he's done, but he's donating toys, doing all this kind of stuff. But most of you would never know he's doing it. So it sounds like he does a lot in his local area. So piston bully, there you go. That's the other thing they were calling it, piston bully. Let's see. John, Jay says, John, he's been pushing for that role forever. I still think it would be an 8 episode, then a movie, but I'll take what's been waiting for you. Okay, who are you replying to? Oh, he'd be great in Gears of War. And I didn't know Bautista was going to be in an M. Night Shyamalan movie, mainly because I didn't know there was another Shyamalan movie coming. So Piston Bully and Snowcat are both brand names, I believe. The police, the sheriff, used them interchangeably. So he started off by saying Snowcat, then called it a Piston Bully, and then used Piston Bully pretty much after that. But of the two, Snowcat is a much better name for a snowplow than Piston Bully. That's just a bad name. It sounds like back when Bill Laimbeer was on the Detroit basketball team. That is an old school basketball reference. I'd be surprised that many of you even got that. So, tell me, surprise me. Tell me how many of you got that. Let's see. JD says, if you're on YouTube, we super appreciate you heading to our page and subscribing there. Too really helps with us, our advertisers. Yes, it does help with our advertisers, but you'll want to be a subscriber on YouTube when the big news comes out, and it's going to be interesting. So, all right, let's see. That's covering everything. Let's go ahead and get to the topic of the day. Now, many of you know that I wouldn't get it was a new basketball reference. Sorry, Jay. I'm a sports guy at heart as well. I may be a comic nerd, and but I'm also into photography, and crocheting's a new thing, and you know, sports. And John says, showing your age, Dan. Pistons were a deadly team back then. They were, they were just a group of bullies. I mean, that's pretty much what they were, you know. And Bill and Lambier was just one of the worst. Just yeah. All right. So many of you know that Mantis from the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, where she's played by Pom Clemente, and she appeared for the first time in Volume 2. Now, in the film, she was a servant to Ego, who turns on him and aids the Guardians and eventually becomes a member of the team. Now, she was... Yes, John. Yeah, I'm 52 until April. So, she was also part of the team during Infinity War and Endgame and vanished during the snap. And then the next time we really see her was in the holiday special, where we learn that she was also a child of Ego, which makes her the half-sister of Peter Quill, you know, Star-Lord. Now, there had been hints about this previously. There was an actress who had posted a photo of herself and Kurt Russell as Ego, saying that she played Mantis's mom in the scene, but it was cut. And, you know, like I said, she has a photo. She's all done up in this as the same alien race as Mantis. But the powers that be kind of denied that at Marvel. When it was cut, they went, you know, that didn't exist. Which, her being... Anyone else freezing and skipping around? No, I'm just sitting here. But I'm in California, so that doesn't count. In the holiday special, she admits to Quill finally, and we find out that she had already told Drax, which is, I think, how we learn it in the deleted scene. But we find out that she is Quill's sister. And that makes a lot of sense, because why else would she be there? You know, he's going around collecting his offspring. Why would he just suddenly have a random person? You know, it's more likely, and it made more sense at the time, that she was one of his offspring who happened to have an ability that allowed him to sleep. It allowed to soothe him, or, you know, calm him down, or whatever it was. So it made a lot of sense that she was, and then when they came out and said it, it really got me thinking. Now, again, and JD, if you're ready. Well, no, not yet, not yet. So the thing is that Mantis is so different than her original origin in the comics. So why did they change her? Why has she changed so much from the comics? Is this just something James Gunn wanted to do to give Quill family? You know, why else did, you know, why is she the sister at this point? I know it makes sense, but they had cut the scene, so why make that reveal? Was it just the like, oh, that's a great way to end the holiday special. We'll make her his sister, and it'll be a big family, happy ending, great. And I would say, yes, that's wonderful. It's a great way to end the show. Big hug, everybody. But this was going to be in Guardians Volume 2, which means that Gunn already planned that and then cut it. So why? What did Gunn had in mind for the character that she needs to be part celestial, like Quill is, because that's what we learned at in the end of the original Guardians of the Galaxy, is that he's part celestial, and that's why he was able to hold on to the Infinity Stone. And even though he gave up the powers, he's still part celestial. So Mantis is part celestial. Now this is where JD needs to be ready, because this is the wild ass speculation. He spent so much time making that. I just want him to be able to use it. So, all right. To set this up, we need to turn back to the origin of the character in the comics. Now, Mantis was created in 1973 in the pages of Avengers 112, done by Steve Englehart and Don Heck. And I'm going to prepare you guys now. I'm sorry, JD. It's a lovely donkey. So, Steve Englehart has some Avengers storylines that are a bit problematic. I don't think Steve really handled female characters very well. Most of his stuff reads more like the sexist of the 60s that we get from James Bond books and stuff like that. So, see, even Ed thinks you have a nice ass. All right, so let's look at the character, and like I said, be prepared. It's a little problematic. She was born to human parents. That's the first big change right there. She's not alien in the comics. She's born to human parents named Gustav Brandt and Lua Nguyen. Her own real name is never revealed. So, but as a child, she was given to or taken to the priests of Pama. Now, and trained by them. The priests of Pama are a sect of the Kree. So we're already in alien territory, though. Even though she's not alien, we are in alien territory. And she was trained, well, they thought that she was going to be the Celestial Madonna. Okay, I'm going to use that term a lot. Now, she was trained in the ways to become the Celestial Madonna, which included martial arts, which she excelled at, and earned the name Mantis. Now, the priests of Pama have another job. They're the protectors of the Kotati, and they're also going to be important because they involved the Celestial Madonna as well. It's kind of their thing. Now, another thing, as the priests of Pama did, was they enhanced her limited telepathic abilities. So they ramped that up. And then this is where it starts to get iffy. When she turned 18, they mind wiped her, gave her false memories of being an orphan in Vietnam so that she could experience a normal human life, something that would be necessary to become a Celestial Madonna. So again, Celestial Madonna, but so yeah, we're very different from the character in the movies. But the fact that she's half Celestial in the comics, that she's half Celestial now, and in the comics she's becoming Celestial Madonna, seems to be more than just a coincidence. So we're going to dig a little deeper. Again, and this is where it gets problematic. So she gets mind wiped, and to live a normal life in Vietnam, where she becomes a prostitute at a bar. And who does she meet at the bar? The swordsman, Jack Duquesne. Now, this is the same character who in the comics trains Hawkeye and his brother. And we've met him in the MCU in the Hawkeye miniseries, where he's played by Tony Dalton. And he's a much better character in there than he has been in the comics, I got to tell you. But at this point, he had been an Avenger, got kicked out, and really is down on his luck. So she helps him regain his confidence. And with that, he decides he's going to go back and try to get in with the Avengers again. And she decides to go with him because hanging out at the bar wasn't that great. Understandable. Now, she ended up being, both of them ended up being part of the team. And she was around the team for a while. She was part of the Avengers Defenders War. When they captured the Collector, another Elder of the Universe, by the way, the same as Ego in the movies. Now, during this time, she ended up becoming close to the Vision and kind of ignored the Swordsman, which caused some issues because he was in love with her. Well, she's around with the team for a while, but then Kang pops up. And, seems like Kang is going to become a big thing soon, so keep that in mind as well. Well, Kang pops up and reveals that Mantis is supposed to be the Celestial Madonna and tries at first to kill her. Earth Mightiest Barhose. Nice, Ed. And trust me, as problematic as this story is, it's not nearly as bad as what they did with Korvac and Miss Marvel, which is just as bad, if not much worse. So, and I think that was Steve Englehart too. Anyway, so Kang is going to kill Mantis to prevent her from being the Celestial Madonna. So Swordsman sacrifices himself to save her, and as he's dying, proclaims his love for her. Now they take him to the temple where she was originally trained, and they bury him there. And then she decides she wants to go find herself, but they really don't spend much time letting her discover her own past because Kang pops up again, but he's got a new plan. He's not going to destroy her. He wants to make a baby with her. And he raises a legion of the unliving, a bunch of people like Wonder Man and stuff like that, to kill the Avengers, but not her because, like I said, he wants to make a baby. But, yeah. The Avengers get some help. The Avengers team up with Immortus, which is another version of Kang, to defeat Kang and the Legion. And once they're defeated, Immortus, as a thank you, decides to let two Avengers see their past, two Avengers who didn't know their past, one being the Vision and one being Mantis. And he basically sends them back in time so they could witness their own past. And the weird part is the Vision goes alone. And I think this might be where he discovers he's actually the body of Android Human Torch, which he turns out not to be. But he goes by himself. When Mantis goes to her past, the rest of the Avengers come with her. And she gets to see all of the stuff that happened. Now, but they go so far back, they actually see the origins of the Kree Skrull War, and they get some history on the Kotati and how they ended up exiled on Earth, and we're going to get into that, and how the priests of Pama trained Mantis to become the Celestial Madonna. Now, upon returning to their own time, Mantis discovered that they had buried the swordsman in the garden where the eldest Kotati has lived, and that same Kotati decided to telepathically control Swordsman's body. This is like Wonder Woman 1984 level at this point. Now, Mantis, having accepted her fate as a Celestial Madonna, agrees to marry the Kotati in the form of the corpse. And she is married alongside the Vision and Scarlet Witch. They all get married, the double couple wedding. And afterwards, they leave the Earth to mate, but they only leave in the spirits, so she's not actually, it's not necrophilia at this point. At least they didn't go there. It's just their spirits. But After conceiving the child with the Kotati spirit, she returns to Earth to find out that the priests have already buried their bodies. And she ends up making a simulacrum, a body out of vegetation to make because it's needed for the embryo for a suitable womb. These are plant-like aliens, so they need this kind of simulacrum from vegetation for it to be born. And Mantis carries the child, and when the child was born, they end up isolating themselves in a suburban household in Connecticut, like you do, where Mantis would raise the child, but not long after, the Kotati show up and decide to take the child from Mantis in order to develop its plant aspects. Yeah. Yes, Prime MCU material this. Now, so they take the kid. Now, feeling restless and unfulfilled, Mantis first looks for the child, finds out she can't find it, so she leaves her body and her spirit went into space for new adventures. And she would appear a few times over the years, involving the Elders of the Universe and the Silver Surfer, then back with the Avengers, until she pops up in Annihilation Quest and played a big part in the war against Phalanx. Phalanx? There's a touchy name already. She would later help Quill form the Guardians of the Galaxy by using her psychic abilities to mentally influence Drax, Phyla-Vell, Gamora, and Adam Warlock to join the team. And we know that didn't go over well. It's a fun read. So, okay, we got a bit more to cover, but let's do a quick break. Quick break, JD. We'll come back and we'll finish up. So, be right back.
Why was Princess Zelda sad after watching a bunch of YouTube videos? She couldn't find the link in the description. We'll stop if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's super easy. Click subscribe and click the bell when you do. And thanks for supporting the EXP. Programming on the EXP is made possible by viewers like you, or your local comic shop, or that Kickstarter you backed, or the publisher you like, or comic industry professionals who want to share a message with the world. Really, anyone who wants to advertise with us can. If you're interested in seeing a product you know and love, or are creating, or are publishing, or are involved with, advertised here on The Experience, and having your message shared with our viewers, please reach out by scanning the QR code below or visiting our website and using the contact form.
Imagine being at a convention and going to an interview panel that's just for you. No bustling crowds, no hours-long lines, just you, the moderator, and your favorite comic book creators. Well, this is pretty much that. Miss Jen sits down every week with 2 comic book creators for a live stream interview about their latest work, and you can ask them whatever you want. It's Talking Shop, Mondays at 5 Eastern on The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales.
So, got a bit to cover left before we wrap this up. The big takeaway from all of this is that Mantis' original role was the Celestial Madonna and involved her giving birth to a child created with the Kotati, who would then become the Celestial Messiah. So who are the Kotati? Well, they evolved on the planet Hala along with the Kree. The Kotati were a pacifist race, whereas the Kree were much more warlike and barbarian. Now, due to the cultural differences, the 2 races had little to no interaction. And after about 1 million years ago, the Skrulls arrived on Hala. At that point, the Skrulls were a peaceful race and wished to share their knowledge and technology in exchange for loyalty. To avoid any dissension between the 2 races regarding which would represent Hala, the Skrulls proposed a test. And they would take 17 Kotati and 17 Kree. The race that accomplished the most in that time would win. 17 Kree were dropped on the dark side of the Earth's moon for a year, while the Kotati were dropped on another planetoid. Over the course of that year, the Kotati grew a beautiful garden by using their mental powers to search out ancient seeds and water. Meanwhile, the Kree built an entire city on the blue area of the moon, which we know becomes Attilan and is the start of the Inhumans. Well, the Kotati win, and angered by losing to a simple garden, the Kree, led by Morag, ambushed and killed the Kotati on Hala. As the Kotati died, they dropped seed pods onto the ground. Over time, and unbeknownst to the Kree, those seeds reached full maturity and uprooted themselves. To better conceal their existence, the Kotati hid in the basement of an abandoned Kree building. Over the centuries, the Kotatis relinquished their mobility, believing it would lead to further conflicts with the Kree. In the Kree year 476, the Kotati and a group of Kree pacifists entered into an agreement where the Kotati would teach the pacifists their knowledge of telepathy in exchange for protection. A century later, these pacifists became known as the Priests of Palma. The Kree Empire grew to despise the priests and had them exiled. Through the machinations of the Kotati, the priests were permitted to travel to an inhabited planet in groups of 2. The priests secretly took the Kotati with them, planting them throughout the known universe, which included Earth and Zen-La, home of the Silver Surfer. A prophecy soon arose which stated that the perfect human, the Celestial Madonna, would mate with the perfect Kotati, the eldest Kotati, to give birth to the perfect child, the Celestial Messiah. Now, the Kotati are a highly intelligent species of telepathic plants. Now, this is where the speculation comes in. And this is where I could get people kind of rolling their eyes, but hey, it could be. It's a long shot, but there's another member of the Guardians also comes from a plant-like race. Groot is a floral colossus from the planet X, or at least he is in the comics. Now, could the floral colossi be descendants of the Kotati? Could they be someone, one of the places that Planet X could have been one of the places that the priests of Palma took the Kotati seeds, and grew them. So it is possible that the floral colossi are descendants of the Kotati. Just saying. It's not impossible. So this is where it comes up. We have Kang becoming a big part of the MCU. We have Mantis revealed that she's half celestial. So could this be involved? Could Kang be looking for the Celestial Madonna? Could that involve the Guardians of the Galaxy? Also, could her and Groot end up making the Celestial Messiah? Or could they really change things up and have her hook up with Adam Warlock to create the Celestial Messiah? Is this a storyline they want to go forward with? I mean, a lot of the stuff they pull from the older comics, they do like that stuff. And Mantis is an interesting character to have pulled in. But, to start with, she was supposed to be a human in the comics, but here she is a race that I don't think they've even said what the name of her race is at this point. But the fact that they've gone out of their way to, even though the scene was cut in the original Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, to bring it back up in the holiday special to reveal that she is basically part celestial, is this something they're planning on doing? Again, it's wild-ass speculation. It just makes it interesting that she's traveling around with a floral colossi or colossus. So, and she hasn't hooked up with anybody. They do like to pair people off in comics or in the movies. So now I know Groot is young, and it's almost like a Mrs. Robinson situation, but I don't know. If James Gunn doesn't do it, that setup is still out there as the series go forward, and we don't know what they're going to do with the Guardians anymore. Like I said, even if we lose Drax and Rocket and some of the team, do you lose everybody? Do you keep Groot? Do you keep Mantis? Let the others go, and you start rebuilding with Adam Warlock, and then you've got the other Captain Marvel. I mean, the 5L Marvel or 5L character, Moondragon, stuff like that. There are other people who have been Guardians. So, maybe somebody else will come in and move the characters forward in a new Guardians set of movies. They're not stopping the Avengers, so they don't necessarily need to stop the Guardians of the Galaxy. They do love Rocket and Groot. And I think I could see Groot sticking around because he's already died once, but I have a feeling this will be the end of Rocket. So, plus, how much is Bradley Cooper going to keep going with the voice? I don't know. We'll find out on May 5th what they're doing, but it wouldn't surprise me if they do something with the Celestial Madonna, because it does seem weird that they would go out of their way to bring back up the fact that she is part Celestial when they had cut it out of the original movie. So, all right, guys, that is going to do it for me. I will be back tomorrow with probably talk about The Bad Batch Season 2, which is supposed to have dropped last night. I don't know what they're doing with the GoBot. That one blew my mind, that they make GoBots canon. Not just that he's in costume, but that they refer to him as a GoBot having killed Drax's cousin. David appears to think that they need to get rid of all the producers and writers that are wrecking the franchise. Okay. That's fair enough. But stick around. Comic Collectibles is next. And remember to hit the subscribe button. Drax versus GoBots, I meant. Yeah, I would still love to see that. That needs to be like the Easter special. Yeah. I don't remember. What were the GoBots' name? There was the plane one was something one. I don't know. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Did you know that every Experience show, including some exclusive content, streams on Twitch? Check it out. Twitch.tv/the_EXP. Or just scan that QR code.